Okay, we are recording. Good morning, or hello, Falcons. You all know me. It's Mrs. Jardine. Well, most of you would know me. I am really excited during this career week that we have had the opportunity to bring you some really cool interviews with different people who are doing different careers. One of the things about COVID, one of the good things COVID has done is that we've been able to really reach out to people that maybe we would normally never have been able to get to come to our school because they live in different cities, different countries, and do really, really different things that they wouldn't have been able to get here. So this next interview, I'm really excited about. This is somebody that I feel very connected to and have been very connected to for over 20 years. And it just so happens that when you're lucky like me and you make a friend in high school and it's a true friendship, your friendship can continue to exist no matter what you're doing and where you are in the world. My good friend, my dearest friend, Natalie Roy, is coming to us from New York City. She has been an actress her entire life. She has acted on many different stages, and that is just one of her many talents. She currently, like I mentioned, lives in New York City. However, she's also lived in New Brunswick and Toronto and traveled around the world where she's been able to experience and show her talents in many different places. Natalie, as I mentioned, is an actress, but she's also many other things. She has her own podcast. She is an author. She has been a producer and a director, a writer, a screenplay writer, and she is the co-founder of an amazing business in New York City that supports artists and actors all over North America, and it supports them in how to be able to live their dreams. And it's a community environment, and they're supported in their dreams, and she does a whole bunch of different things through that. She teaches, she coaches, she's a mentor. So she's got a lot of different things going on. Natalie has always been somebody that has followed her dreams no matter what obstacles were in front of her. And I'm really looking forward for you guys to hear her answers to a lot of the questions that I'm going to be asking, because I think you're going to find that the sky's the limit, and anything you go after, you can achieve. And she's kind of the perfect example for that. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Janelle. Oh, Mrs. Jardine.
Our first question today is, what inspired you to choose your career? I feel like I could answer these for you, but I'm going to let you go.
I know we've known each other for so long that, you're my longest relationship. Yep. So you have seen me go through the process of all of these things.
I know, and that's why I feel like I'm really excited for the kids to see this, because you really have pushed through every obstacle and you've really, really gone after your dreams, and I can be your witness to that.
Totally. So when I was a kid growing up in Keswick Ridge, New Brunswick, it was a very small area. And just from the time I can remember being a little kid, I just wanted to play and create. And with my dolls, I was always making up plays and stories. And I would get my cousins together and say, let's go in grandma's basement and put on a play for our parents. And we would make everyone come and watch us. I think I used to charge my parents money to come and watch me perform. And I just always was singing. I would walk up and down my road, dancing, listening to musical theater, listening to Disney songs and singing to myself. I remember really vividly when I was really young, looking in the mirror, and I had a Beauty and the Beast tape, the cassette tape, and I used to listen to it and look in my own eyes and sing to myself and just have these big dreams of singing, dancing, performing, playing. It just felt to me that I didn't know what the job looked like, but I just knew those were my favorite things to do, to be creative, to create something new. So ever since I can remember, I was always painting or singing or dancing or running around, creating something, writing stories. And I loved that. And I felt like when I was being creative, when I was making something new or using myself in a new way or connecting with other people with storytelling, I just felt the most happy and the most alive. And so I never knew what job that would turn into. And so as I was growing up and going through school, I tried lots of different sports. I, tried studying lots of different things. And I always found that anytime I could be creative, that was my favorite. So even if it was a science experiment I was doing, if it was something where I could make a collage or make something interesting, I always just felt really inspired by that. So I didn't exactly know it was going to turn into a career. I
Right.
just tried as much as I could to say, what makes me feel the best and how can I do the most of that?
Yep.
And then when I was graduating from high school, I started getting involved in musical theater.
You
And
did.
you and I did musicals together. and
I was in the background. You were the star.
and I remember in that moment feeling the feeling of not just doing it by myself, but the feeling of being with a group of people and everyone coming together to make something and to
Yeah.
make a production, all the rehearsals and all the play, and then everybody comes together and you make something.
Yep.
And it exists only in that moment. And then as soon as you're done the show, it goes away. And
Yeah.
only the people in the audience get to see it. And then you go on to the next thing. And for me, that was the most exciting process. I felt so alive. I felt so excited. I wanted to wake up every morning. It was the first thing I thought about. And so I knew this is what I need to do with my life somehow. And I don't know how to do it. So then I went to university and I studied all different things. I studied psychology and philosophy and English, just trying to see really where my heart wanted to be. And always, no matter what else I did, my heart always wanted to act. I always wanted to be an actor. I always had dreams of being on television.
Yep.
So when I graduated from university, I moved to Toronto and I started doing auditions, and the rest is history.
Natalie literally packed a bag and moved to Toronto and found herself a tiny little apartment and dropped her bags, and she was starting her dream. I remember that very vividly. You
Yeah,
said, I'm doing it, and you took the risk.
yeah.
Um, this is going to be a hard question for you because you have so many different careers kind of going on right now. But and for anyone that, I guess, I don't even know if I've mentioned, like, you've been in over a dozen TV shows. You've been in like a half dozen more movies, commercials. I can't even probably count the number of commercials that you've been in. So there's a lot of different elements that you've been in your job. But what would be the favorite thing about your job?
Uh, the favorite thing is getting to play for a living. Like
Right.
I get to make money doing playtime and make believe. Like that's really, really fun.
Yeah.
But what's really fun about it is really the collaboration.
Yeah.
So a writer will spend a lot of time sitting and writing a script, and then they'll hire a team to make this project, and then they'll hire a casting director, and then by the time the script gets into my hands and I'm auditioning for it, I get to just play make believe, and I get to hold this script in my hand and say, what is this person? What is this world? What are they trying to create? What story are they trying to tell? And I get to just show up and give someone my idea of what I think this person in this world is, and I just get to use my imagination. And
Right.
the best feeling in the world is when you're the writer or the director or someone else you're acting with is
Right.
just playing with you, and you feel that you're making something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And you're just coming up with it even on the spot. Sometimes you have the script in front of you that someone's written for you to say certain lines, and in the moment you make up new lines, and then people say, yeah, keep that, we love that. So that creative process is the best part. And
It,
that's when I'm on set doing it as an actor, or if I'm coaching another actor,
yeah.
I can do it that way. Or if I'm writing something or if I'm directing something, that creative process shows up. That's why I like to do a lot of different things.
That's your passion, is the creative process. So that manifests itself in a whole bunch of different ways for you.
Yeah.
What are some of the roadblocks? And I know you've had many. And did you have to overcome failure early in your career?
The biggest roadblock for me all my life has been my own mind. The negative things that I would tell myself,
Yes.
So one of the things that I had to overcome was thinking, well, I'm nobody. I come from a really small place. What, like, how am I going to make it the same way someone who comes from Los Angeles or New York or somewhere fancy, or, I don't have all this fancy training, or there's this story I made up in my head of how maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe I'm not as special as somebody else. And so what I got the opportunity to do every single step of the way was there was the voice in my head that wanted to say, I don't think you can do it. And I got to choose the other voice inside my head that said, but it doesn't matter. You're just going to go out there and you're going to give it your best. And even if it doesn't go your way,
Yeah.
you're the person who tried. Like, you were brave enough to put yourself out there. So every job, and it doesn't ever go away. When I was auditioning for smaller roles, it was there. And now that I'm auditioning for bigger roles, it's still there. And I feel like you could win an Oscar and you would still have that voice in your head that doubts yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that the biggest obstacle I overcame, and there's other obstacles, you know, as an actor, you get rejected a lot. There's lots of times where you go after something and the answer is no. There's lots of times where you have to do other jobs to support yourself, to make money while you're trying to go after your dreams that you care about. But the biggest one of all is just to be able to really look in my own eyes every day and say, there's always going to be the part of myself that feels afraid.
Right.
But I promise myself to just keep showing up no matter what. And as I've done that over a lot of time, just continuing to give myself love and say, it's okay. Everybody doubts themselves.
Right.
And so it doesn't have to be something that holds me back. It can actually be a superpower, because I can say, I'm a person who feels really scared. And I also continue to believe in myself enough to keep on showing up and put one foot in front of the other.
I think that's really important for a lot of the students here to hear, is that it's a mindset, and it's okay to be aware of, we're not always going to have that perfect mindset, but it's being aware of those thoughts, and that awareness, bringing awareness to those thoughts can help you navigate through them a little bit, and then bring intention to the following thought. Like, yes, I had that, but what's my next thought going to be?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't feel like I'm good enough, but then my next thought is, but you're going to try. And so it's bringing awareness. I think that's a really important message for a lot of students to hear, is you're going to have those thoughts, but it's what you do the next thought. That's really important. What help did you receive along the way to help you get where you're at right now?
So much help. And I think that nobody can go after their dream alone. It's impossible. It's the same way, you know, when you get onto a movie set and you're filming a big movie, sometimes there's 4 different cameras at any time, and there's over 100 different people all on set, all doing different jobs. Someone is setting the lights, someone is holding the microphone, someone is holding the camera, someone is editing in the background. There's all the actors on set, there's all the extra actors, there's so many people that it takes just to make 30 seconds of something that you see on TV. And maybe that 30 seconds that you see on TV, we had to film it for 4 hours. By the time you set up all the lights and you do everything, and you do many different versions of it. So that little 30-second clip you see on your television, you had over 100 people for 4 hours working to make that happen, because everybody loves it and everybody wants to do it. It's like our dream. So what I would say is, with every single thing you do, you can't do it alone. It's all about collaborating and being part of a team. And so at the highest level, even if you're the star actor on set, you're still just part of a team.
Yeah.
And the more you treat your teammates with respect, the more help that you're going to get. And then everything gets better. Everything gets easier.
Such good advice. We're not alone.
No. So all along the way, I was so lucky to have friendships like you and other people in my life who stood by me when I was having hard days, because it's glamorous when I'm on the red carpet and doing all those fun things, but there's also days where you feel really sad and there's a job you really wanted that you don't get. And if it's not for your friends to remind you, you know, we're with you, we support you. If you don't have that support system, it's easy to stop believing in yourself in those moments. And also, I believe that no matter what you want to do, there's always somebody who knows something that you don't know. Yeah. And so I love to be mentored and to have coaches by other actors and other teachers who have gone a few steps further than me. And it's always important for me, no matter where I get in my life, always ask for help, always ask for help, always ask for help, because there's always somebody who has gone just a little bit further than you. And most of those people are so happy to help you.
Yeah,
And that's actually how you're going to move forward faster if you're just willing to ask for help and support.
you're so right. I can't. Yeah. It's help is sometimes asking for help is it needs to be looked at as a strength. It's something when we can ask for help, we're going to get stronger, and there's keys that people hold for us, and they can provide us things that we just need a little support with, and it all helps by reaching out to people.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you answer these next questions, even though I kind of feel like I know where you're going to go with it, because you're such a person. And then one of the things I've always loved and admired about you is you live in the moment. And I think it's caused you to be so focused on your goals and your dreams, but it's allowed you to appreciate every second. Um, is this where you all, or is this what you all, no, sorry. How long did it take you to, or no, back up again. How long did it take you to get to this spot that you're in right now?
Every second of every day that I've been alive. I will say that for me, as like someone who really values creativity,
Yeah.
there's no finish line. And
Yes.
so wherever I've gotten to now is just the beginning of where I'm going. And people always say, what's your favorite role that you've ever played? And I always say, whatever the next one is, because
Oh, I like that.
I I feel so grateful for every character I get to play and every movie I get to do and every TV show I get to walk on and meeting all the stars. It's so fun. But as soon as it's over, I just can't wait for the next one. And so every single moment of my life, in one way or another, has led me to where I am today. And so even the really hard times, even the times when the answer was no, even the times when it was a struggle, all of those things were part of
Yeah.
how I got to be here today. So I'm just super grateful, but I do also feel like I'm just at the beginning. I'm just getting started.
Yeah, and that's my thought process time when I was thinking to this question too, because you are somebody who appreciates the moments, but you're also somebody that always looks to the future and, as well. And you can do both at the same time. You can really appreciate how far you've come, but you're a goal setter. You love to set goals and you love to keep yourself challenged. And because I think you love that learning aspect of it all.
Yeah,
And you like to push yourself just a little bit outside of your comfort zone because you know that that's where the growth happens. And
exactly.
I've always admired your ability to do that. And I know it's been work on your end, but you've always kind of reached for the next thing while always appreciating the spot that you're in too,
Yeah.
which takes practice.
It is a practice. It's a practice to say, so sometimes when you get into a point where you feel a little stuck or you feel a little scared or you don't know how to move forward, I always like to think back in my past, was there ever another time when I felt stuck and I felt like I couldn't move forward? And if I remember that time, then I also remember how I got through it. And I remember, oh yeah, even if I felt stuck at that time, it moved and
Right.
something happened and I was able to get through it. So if I remember that, then I know that I have within me right now, whatever it takes to move me to the next and to the next. And I think the most important thing for any career is when you humble yourself to say, I'm always willing to learn whatever the next thing is. And that's when you're going to surprise yourself because
Yeah.
when I was 10 years old or 20 years old, I never would have imagined that I would be living in New York City,
Yeah.
being on big, fancy television shows. I never would have thought that was possible for me. And now, because that's my new normal, now I'm thinking about, well, what else can I do that I don't think is
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. And you get there. You always do because you set those goals and the thing with you too, you've always set goals, but then you've made action items to get to those goals. Like it's not enough for you just to say, I want to do this. You're saying you then kind of always look at what do I need to do that and what are the steps that I need to take and how can I start somewhere and keep moving forward. And sometimes there's 4 steps back, but then you get up the next day and you take another step forward. So
Exactly.
you've always moved in those directions. What's on the horizon now? Because I know you probably got 10,000 different things on the go.
I do. Well, there's a movie that I've written that's in development. So hopefully by 2021 or 2022, you'll be able to watch that on your television. Also, I just finished last week filming a little series. I can't really talk about it just yet, but it will be out on your televisions in December. It's a new project that I'm working on. I always have new auditions coming up. I am continuing to work on my podcast, which is I release a podcast every week that's helping creative people, helping artists to just believe in themselves and to go after their dreams and to know that nothing is impossible. That if there's something that you desire, if you have something inside of you that say, oh, I would love to do this, the reason you feel that you would love to do it is because it's possible for you. So I like to do this podcast to help remind people of that and give them tools and ideas of how they can do that. And I have some auditions on the horizon that are always something exciting to focus on. And always what's exciting about living a life that's really creative is you never know what's around the corner. I could get a phone call right after this interview that says, oh, you have an audition tomorrow. So it's always like exciting that way.
You've had to, Natalie is somebody who is a planner, but Natalie's had to learn different strategies because those moments have happened where you have an audition tomorrow, here's your script, learn it in a half an hour. Or so you've had to kind of been able to be flexible in things that you really find, like you find it less stressful when you have a plan and when you have a schedule and when you know what's expected, but things have been thrown at you and you've had to kind of learn that resilience and how to be able to kind of roll with the flow a little bit, which I know is something that some people struggle with. So
Yeah.
But you've had to learn that, and it always makes me laugh when you find out the day before and then you rock it because you've had that experience and practice doing it. But
yeah,
I know, didn't you find out like an hour before you had to memorize different lines? And
actually just last week I was on set shooting something and I had the script. They gave me the script the day before, so I had some hours to learn it, and I was very confident, and I had it on my phone and I had memorized it. And then I was sitting in front of the camera. They were just testing the lights to make sure that everything looked okay before they were going to film. And the director walked over to me and said, oh, by the way, we have a new script. I don't think anyone gave it to you yet. And it was 2 new pages. And I said, how long do I have? And they said, well, we're probably going to film in about 10 minutes.
Go.
And in that moment, you get to make a choice. I could have said, I'm very overwhelmed. It feels really stressful. I don't think I can do it. And that voice was in my head.
Yeah.
And the second voice in my head was, oh, I get to be a superhero right now. I get to do something that's so hard. And I get to face this challenge. And they know that I just got it. So it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. It's okay to make a mistake. You don't have to be perfect, but I'm going to go after this. And I'm going to see how great I can do. And I'm going to be excited about the challenge of it. And that was an attitude that I did not have when I first started. That's something that had to develop as I changed my mindset so that I could have a bigger career. Because if my mindset stays small, then my career is going to have to stay small. But if I start to see challenges as opportunities, then my life can get bigger and bigger.
That's huge. That's a really important statement, I think, for everyone to take a moment and think about. I could hear you talk all day, and I feel like I've known you for over 20 years and I've never stopped learning from you. You just amaze me every time, every day. I always told you that. I've always believed in how you can do anything you put your mind to. You are the message for that for me. Do you have a final message for our Falcons before I let you get back to your busy life?
I would say that get really good at listening to yourself. It's really easy to listen to other people's voices and what other people think you should do with your life and what other people say is a good idea for you. But if you spend a little bit of time, I like to do it where I just put my hand on my heart and I just ask myself every day, what does Natalie want today? What would make you feel happy? What would feel really exciting for you today? What do you think you want to do with your life? What do you think your next step is? And the more you listen to yourself, the more you're going to start to have like little things come up like, oh, I feel like doing this, or I feel like talking to this person, or you know what I'm really interested in is is this idea or this course, or maybe I want to look up more information about this. And you're going to start to learn about yourself.
Yeah.
And the most important thing you can do with your life is what feels important to you. And it doesn't matter. I will say that I'm really lucky that I have a really, really loving, supportive family, and I come from a really supportive community. But they certainly didn't know how to help me be an actor. So when I said to my family, I want to be an actor, they were kind of scared. They're like, that seems kind of crazy to us. Like, we don't know anybody who's an actor. We don't. So almost
I'm moving to New York.
right. Yeah. Like, they weren't very happy when I was like, I'm moving to New York. Not that they weren't happy, but they were scared. They didn't know how to support me. And so I think if I had listened to people around me, they would have said, well, we think you should do this with your life, or we think you should try this. And I could have had a good life doing lots of other things. But the important thing is to listen to myself, because inside of my heart, I know exactly what makes me the happiest and what makes me feel the best. And it doesn't matter if other people understand me. It doesn't matter if other people get me. It doesn't even matter if I feel sometimes like, oh, I feel misunderstood, because as I've been really truthful to myself, I've met so many people along the way, like you, who have been by my side, and really, you'll find the right people to help you along the way if you're being really honest with yourself.
You will. I agree. Falcons, if you're looking for any more information on Natalie, or you'd like to see her in action, if you go to her website, which is www.natalieroy.com, you will be able to see little snippets of things that she's been in. There's a list of different things that she's been in, just to watch the magic happen. It's pretty amazing when you see her on screen. She transforms. So, and there's also a list of all the other amazing things that she does in this big, beautiful life that she's living. Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
I know, and we will be in touch soon. Thank you.